Hey, how's it going guys? My name is Zealwood and today we're going to be reviewing Dauntless and to answer the ultimate question, is it worth your time? So, Dauntless is an online multiplayer, free-to-play third-person action RPG set in a fantasy world where the world has been torn apart by a cataclysmic event, thus releasing large monsters called behemoths all over the place. As the player, you take on the role of a slayer and are tasked with killing these behemoths as they threaten the very existence of humanity itself. So, aesthetically the game looks decent, visually similar to Fortnite as both games are made by the same developer, so very dynamic bright colours used. Textures are good quality but give more of a fun, not so serious feel to the environment. Lighting effects are simple and charming. Shadow quality is subpar compared to other modern games, and graphic detail isn't really noteworthy. Most of these points are clearly done on purpose, as this is the kind of art style Epic Games likes to go for in their games. It worked for them in Fortnite, so why reinvent the wheel, right? All these factors give the game an overall light-hearted, fun feel to it, more likely to appeal to a younger audience. The UI is decent, nice and clean with nothing too in the way while playing. Nothing really noteworthy again, but it does the job. Level layouts are a good size with a decent amount to explore. You don't get any kind of map or mini-map, which is a big shame for a game like this. Character facial and body designs are acceptable, I suppose, but character animations are actually pretty good. Things like attacking, running, jumping look and feel very satisfying. They just hit the border between realistic and impossible mobility, giving your character an acceptable superhuman feel without questioning physics too much. Enemy visuals and animations are pretty good. All enemies are very unique, have good physics and design quality, but come on, when you have the ability to create any kind of monster you can think of, you can't really mess that up, can you? The OSTs in Dauntless are decent, fully orchestrated soundtracks with a lot of intense, deep instruments used, with a powerful war drum beat being the main theme for each soundtrack, which gives the music a strong, dramatic, powerful feel. Perfect kind of music for going up against large monsters with, but sadly nothing really catchy or unique that's going to stick in your head for a while, and definitely nowhere near good enough to want to download and listen to these songs in your own time. Very similar to Volga the Viking soundtracks, which I reviewed a couple of weeks back. I'll leave a card to the top if you fancy it. I need the views. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Bad cough. General sound effects in Dauntless are very good, I feel. The sounds of running over different terrain and the hits of your weapons are very nice and quite immersive. The sound of your axe hits in-game, oh, fucking awesome. Now for the gameplay. So guys, some of you might have seen a few of the memes floating around the internet about Dauntless and a certain other game of very similar gameplay. Now I'm not going to show you these memes on this video, but if you Google Dauntless memes you'll see what I mean. But a lot of people feel that Dauntless is pretty much a cheap slash shitter version of Monster Hunter. Now I'm not going to comment on that because I'm not going to allow external factors at all to hinder a rating I give a game, but just putting it out there for those who aren't familiar with Dauntless and or Monster Hunter in general, okay? So once you start the game, you need to create a character, of course. Standard amount of customizable options to go through, like skin color, hair type, nose length, etc. Everyone is obviously familiar with these kind of screens. Once done, you watch a short cutscene, complete the training-like mission, then you're sent to your questing hub. The hub contains everything you will ever need, like a blacksmith, vendors, quest boards, and much more. This is essentially your hometown. Once there, you go to a quest board and choose a quest to take on a specific behemoth. You can choose to tackle it alone, with friends, or pug. Once your quest starts, you'll move to a specific area like a forest, a desert, a tundra, scavenge items, kill monsters, and tackle your assigned behemoth. Once done, you collect the behemoth's body parts and return to your questing hub. Once there, you use said body parts to create new weapons, new armor, restock supplies, and take on harder behemoths. Rinse and repeat until you complete the game. And that's Dauntless in a nutshell. Now, if I were to repeat everything I just said, but replace the word behemoth with large monster, I would be explaining the general gameplay of Monster Hunter. And that's where the memes come from. Difficulty in this game is set, but the best way to think about it is every behemoth added to your quest board that wasn't there before is basically higher difficulty. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay. So the character controls are just as good as character animations, actually pretty good. Movement is slick, smooth and feels good to control. You have a choice of 6 different weapons to choose from before departing on a pursuit. Each weapon has completely different moveset, attack styles and combos. For example, axes are very slow, powerful, but with bad mobility. Dual blades on the other hand are very fast, but weaker with very good mobility. Each weapon obviously has its own pros and cons, but it's mainly down to personal preference as to which weapon you should take on a quest. There aren't a lot of combos or attack styles in Dauntless compared to other games, but I'd say that's actually a good thing, as it allows you to become a lot more efficient with what you have available and reduces the learning curve quite a bit. Other than your main weapon, you can bring optional things like grenades, potions and other consumables to help you out as well. Enemy AI and combat mechanics are pretty impressive actually. You do have your standard enemy with standard abilities, but as you progress you start to fight rock monsters that drill into the ground, ice monsters that are immune to damage unless you figure out how they work, and a lightning lizard that sets up spike traps that shoot you, which you can destroy. And that's just to name a few. I feel the developers have really thought out of the box when designing these game mechanics for each behemoth, which does make the game overall pretty fun. So, for the ultimate question, is it worth your time? If you're young enough not to have a job yet, and you have 3 other friends all with the same console as you, that also don't have a job, this game is a perfect opportunity to have some really good fun with your friends. If you don't meet that criteria, but you do have some spare time, give it a go. It's not bad, and it's free to play, so you're not at risk of losing anything. If you don't meet that criteria, and you don't have a lot of time spare, I'd say spend your precious gaming time on something else. I'm going to give this game a 4-star, or 78 out of 100. I feel it could have been a lot higher, but there are quite a few things about this game that do take away from the immersion quite a bit. Firstly, although the combat is pretty fun, I find it's extremely rare the behemoth you fight actually gets staggered or falls, or even flinches from damage taken. This doesn't really justify all the numbers you see on the screen when doing a lot of hits or dealing very high damage, especially when you're in a group of 4. When you first start, there's little guidance to begin with, and I feel you're exposed to way too much too soon. You can get over this in about an hour or 2 of playing and going through all the start screen options and reading them very carefully. Monster Hunter starting off is also pretty bad like this, but it does do it a little bit better than Dauntless. When playing online in a group of 4, the frames do drop quite a bit on the PS4 Pro anyway. I can't speak for other platforms, but that was my experience of it anyway. No map or mini-map is a real pain for a game like this. Many times I found myself running in large circles trying to find the behemoth. The flare system when alerting teammates of a behemoth's location could also be better. A simple glow of the compass at the top of the screen would solve this problem. The UI I feel could have also been a bit better. The danger icon in the top right has a subtle background effect, which they could have used this on the whole UI to make it look a lot smarter. Also, endgame I feel isn't really appealing enough to pursue, as it looks like it wasn't really set up that well. Although there are quite a few bad points here, I do have some good ones too. I love the fact that when you die in mid-fight you can be resurrected by teammates, or you can use one of your 3 auto-resurrect items per mission. Very good feature. I love how the game gives you gear rating for monsters, which you should really follow, or the game becomes much harder, as you take so much more damage from hits. I like how when you start the mission, the game auto-pugs you with a whole team without you needing to do anything. Very convenient. A few immersion features, like when you take damage, the sound drops off for a second. All weapons feel really good to use, and you still have decent open world gathering, like metals and plants are also pretty good. And finally, I like how the pay for features aren't really needed, as most are mainly emotes and cosmetics. The only thing I find slightly forced is the hunt pass, as you get additional items from completing quests and leveling. But fortunately it's just a couple of pounds anyway. But again, it's still not needed and won't affect your gameplay too much without it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more games I'll be reviewing in the coming weeks. Still waiting to release my 10 sub special mind, and we're almost there. Just a few more to go. Anyway guys, as always, all the best. Take care.